Hello and welcome to another edition of XFeed. Look at this shirt for a second, because this looks like it's a pajama shirt, but in the advertisement, it looked like it was completely normal. And then look at this. It looks like I'm wearing friggin' pajamas. But anyway, welcome to another edition of XFeed. My name is Schiller. Yesterday, we had one of the best streams we've had in a while. Wanting to keep that going while showing off a little bit of the good old Disney World. We're all comfy and cozy. Hopefully you guys are as well. So let's jump into things. NFTs are downstream of crypto. Always have been. You can try to ignore it, but as of today, it's still the most important factor in the whole scene. The good vibes, the connection, the community, all of that kind of stuff. It's starting to matter again because people are realizing these two things are wildly connected. If we're tokenizing everything that we can, what's the next closest thing that exists out there? Oh, it's your lovely NFT. Who's getting paid? Have you seen where I think it was Stripe. Somebody got paid $1 million to change Stripe's logo, and it's like a slightly maneuvered rectangle that I think is purple, and that's it. $1 million. Somebody can come up with a better name than NFT for what we're doing. True. Machi Big Brother bringing up a really funny story. So Vitalik Buterin, he is one of the co-founders of Ethereum and one of like the biggest personalities that there is. People send him cryptos, NFTs, everything all the time. So you can see right here, and because it's on chain, you can see when they sell, buy, whatever. So Vitalik.eth sold 2 meme coins that he got for free because, again, people just keep sending him stuff for whatever reason, hoping that others look at it and say, oh, you know what? Let me go and purchase that because they think it's quality, right? Right? But as an unsuspecting person, right? Let's say there's somebody new that comes in the space. They find out how to like look at wallets. Vitalik.eth. Okay, look, this is, oh, that's in his wallet. He's going to buy that or whatever. It's not the case. So Vitalik sells out of them. And he made 14,000 on one, and then 114,000 on another. And Machi Big Bro, who's a huge Bored Ape Yacht Club whale, sent him a Bored Ape Yacht Club before, which again, it's like 30, 40,000, whatever the hell it is. And he's fighting, saying, yo, you got to profile picture that ape. Do we care that much of what people are profiling? That's the thing. This is the culture that we're now in. It's not you going on Facebook and seeing everybody's actual face. You're coming online and seeing what they want to be represented as in the metaverse, which is the world. So, yeah, over in pump.fun, they put a sign on the Hollywood sign to try to advertise whatever. It got a police helicopter. Are we back in the attention game? What the hell's going on? For anybody that doesn't know, like you're watching right here, imagine that you go on a platform and you're able to buy a cryptocurrency that is associated with said stream, and people speculate on it. That's basically what that is, and so people are trying to figure out how to capture the most attention. I don't know if that's it. Listen, if we're trying to take away resources for the police when people are in need, what are we doing? People in need, the police. Look at this. The SEC has charged Tai Lopez with operating a $112 million Ponzi scheme. So you don't know who Tai Lopez is.
I want to welcome you to theoriginalgarage.com. I'm Tai Lopez. This is the official website for my new NFT collection.
What? You barely even need to get this stream going and you're already doing that. Oh, man, what's going on? Unreal. So let's... The website is awful, first of all. Like, this is maybe one of the worst crummy-looking websites that's just... It feels like one of those, like, HTML classes from high school where you're like, all right, I can separate the text and I can give it, like, a little bit of a different look, but that's it. And we're just going to implant the videos. Because this is unbelievably bad. So if we keep scrolling here, that was number 2. Do they go down? Oh, that's 3. So if we go back to the front here... We're only going to read a couple of these because I started and I was like, this is just weird. So choose between one of the following categories of silver cards. One silver card category gets you the online mentorship and course access. A silver card in the other category gets you access into the NFT member hotel, restaurant, or club. Each utility is good for 3 years. Who started this this has utility for 3 years. Is Gary Vaynerchuk with the V-Friends, the V-Cons, I should say, not the collection, the events themselves. So free access to OG Social Club exclusive courses. Learn how to start and scale a social media marketing agency. Learn the lessons Ty spent 20 years gathering from his mentors about living the good life. And so this guy, I guess, like, has sold courses. I don't know if that, I'd imagine that amount, right? What, like 112 million is not from the NFTs, because obviously with celebrities, usually a huge caveat, and people are like, we have a guy who's like, hey, look at all my marketing agencies. Isn't this great? Yada, yada, yada. And then it's like BS, launches an NFT, and then find $112 million. What a wonderful world. I've got a feeling, says Shiv, we're about to see a lot of major hires incoming. Brands are starting to realize there are some hidden gems, creators they should be onboarding. They have the skill set, they have the audience that can probably help them scale. Expect a lot of creators to be taken off the shelves soon enough. I don't think this is a bad thing at all. We need the talent that's not taken seriously to be taken seriously. Plenty of underrated creators here that will be blessed soon enough. So curious, right? Like, how many other people, similar to, I guess, what I'm doing here, are you viewing? Think of people that you read if you're a heavy user on X and they give thoughts on the timeline all the time. Is it kind of short bit contents? Is it live streams similar like this? And how many people can you actually name within the space? And maybe not even people that you consume on a semi-regular basis, but the ones that you've seen on the timeline and you recognize. Like, the number is actually sort of small comparatively to the world potentially coming to the Web3 sector itself. Well, it's going to be fascinating to watch, especially if we are in this mega Q4 where everybody's going to just be, I don't know if euphoric's the right phrase, but people are going to have a different pep to their step, a different view on things. Take as an example, Web3 gaming, very weird, sort of bad spot right now, generally speaking. What if all of a sudden it becomes the rage? And everybody you're seeing out there that used to just kind of talk and give takes on the timeline is out playing these games, and it's interactive and it's different. We don't know what sort of things are going to pop out here, and that's why we do this stream, because you never know what it's going to be. I just closed that. Oh my goodness, I missed what that was. Apologies. Ooh, I think that was actually big sales. Yeah. So we're at a point where big sales are happening. The one I just showed a second ago was a Moonbird glitch that sold for, I think, $112-ish thousand. Okay. And then this Good Vibes Club. Somebody wanted to get one of the one-of-ones. Again, the status symbol showing off, whatever, wanting to have these elite collections, whatever it may be. Good Vibes Club. Again, they're the team that's worked with Super Rare, Google, whole bunch of other massive brands. People are starting to pay a ton of money for these things. The highest hyper sale just went for $470,000. These things just came out. So you're sitting there, you're looking at this, and you're like, all right, Chiller, what the hell is going on? Well, you have the weighting of why is this going for $470,000? Well, it can be a status symbol of, hey, I really am a big supporter of a certain group, network, app, just like a sports team, and I want to represent it. And because there's so much demand from other people, that these are the prices you get at. Potentially. You might have some sort of thing where there's an expectation of more tokens or some sort of value down the line from a utility perspective. And there's a couple different ways of kind of looking at these. But the hypers, like, legitimately just came out. And one of the one-of-ones, with like the Raven, the Trojan sort of hat situation here, sold for $90,000, and then $230,000, and then $470,000 all in 11 hours. So people are actively flipping NFTs again. Now, a big component of this is the strategy tokens, in which we did go on a massive stream the other day, which we've got like 1,400 views on this. Guys, we got 1,400 views on this. Hell yeah. Don't forget to bookmark it. 12. Listen, we don't really get random traction like that, okay? And I'm always going to be super transparent whenever I can show you guys stats or anything like that to see what it's like. But I keep making the point that there's something that needs to bring people together within Web3. The strategies are doing that. We're reaching a extraordinarily large audience because right now it's most of the Ethereum NFT community base that's paying attention to what's going on here. When was the last time that everybody sort of agreed on what's going on? Now, to look at it a little bit different, maybe, that hyper thing that we just looked at a moment ago, that just came out. I have not used Hyperliquid. I've not used Acer. I've not used any of those platforms, admittedly. But I can see on my timeline a huge cluster of people that are talking about it, that are in it, and it's like, okay, they're in cryptos. They're in, maybe in the NFT side, I think. Maybe not. But that's a whole nother specific niche and cluster that I have no idea about. So how am I going to end up caring about that? And we'll see at some point what that looks like, but all of a sudden we have a reason to pay attention to what every different team is developing across the space. And I still can't get over the fact that these are selling for $500,000. Unreal. You know, the most crazy part, let's say that you got in this, right? So it's the Hype Genesis. You may choose to receive a unique NFT from the future Hyper NFT collection and Hype tokens, or Hype tokens only as part of the Genesis event. Hyper NFTs have no planned utility. The NFT collection is expected to launch in 2025 after the Hyper EVM is live on mainnet. So try to imagine yourself before any of those collections came out and you knew what the value of these NFTs were. Maybe I should have started with this because you're going to have a hard time. But if you're just sitting there and you're like, okay, do I want tokens or do I want potentially maybe like less tokens than the NFT? Because that's the rationale that a lot of people had. And so there was a lot that just didn't, they didn't click this one that went over there. And then it came out that it didn't matter and there was like the same allocation of tokens and you could just get the NFT or not. So it almost sort of became a meme. And then they're going, imagine being the person that hit the check mark on the above when you just missed out on like $400,000. That's absurd. That is so absurd. Now, granted, those are one-of-ones, yada, yada. But OpenSea apparently did more volume yesterday while those were trading than I think like the entire month before, because it was like $400,000 transactions because there's so many of them. Like that's a lot. Like that's crazy. Nifty Island with some pretty crazy news here. It's been an incredible ride. Things like this are never easy to say, so we won't beat around the bush. What started out as a project with its eyes set on becoming Web3 Roblox powered by crypto and NFTs is still up and running just fine. Fun updates coming soon. That's going to be a red, buddy. Unreal. People are trying to debate out on the timeline. What actual timeline are we living where reputable brands are doing that sort of thing? Jaden Levitt, the most slept on NFT project in crypto history. This is where you sit back, relax. Remember, we're wearing a shirt that's supposed to be a shirt that looks more like PJs. Let's dive in. Almost nobody knows about it, but you might. The upside, huge. Okay. And for anyone listening on audio, it's a kind of derivative drawing of Lionel Messi with an Argentina flag in the top left with his name on it. My, in quotes, Apple off the head moment in NFTs was realizing the whole game runs on a universal power law, supply and demand. More attention equals more buying flows equals price goes vertical. Number go up. Crypto Strikers launched in 2018 right before the World Cup, now known as Wrapped Strikers. The idea? Recreate the magic of trading cards but on-chain and become a gateway to pull the mainstream into digital collectibles. Johnny Citino explained why it mattered. Think back to MP3 files for audio. When music first started getting ripped and shared, the file could be duplicated endlessly, and the music industry kind of collapsed under that. But now, with the ERC 721 standard, we have digital scarcity. That's a really interesting concept, and beyond that, you also get digital ownership. You, as the holder, hold the asset in your digital wallet. It's not tied to a specific company's servers, so if something like Crypto Strikers were to shut down, you'd still own your cards. And there's a whole bunch more, but we romanticize about this stuff. First edition comic books, rookie sports cards, even moments like a first job or passing our driving test. We want to own a piece of the timeline, and we give added weight to items or ideas that kickstarted something new. Crypto Strikers taps into status, provenance, and nostalgia. So I don't want to go through that because there's like way too many quotes of like extra takes and whatnot when it's not. I mean, we're trying to focus on just this, but Crypto Strikers, this is a collection. Again, back in 2018, when you talk about historical things, is this the first sports NFT where people are going to care about the weighting of historical aspects? Or are we at a point where the historical ones don't really matter unless that there is a culture and or community that's around it to preserve it and continue to highlight it and create that value surrounding something? It's like a force field, right? If you don't have people that are preserving that memory, that thought, that idea, how does it live? So my personal take on something posted: culture and nostalgia have become the ultimate asset class. And so what is this? This is a piece of a collection by, I want to get this right, The Memes by 6529. What's awesome, what is so awesome about this, and I got introduced by a friend late last night regarding it, because I have heard of it, and I was like, okay, people are saying like the memes collection, pay attention to this, and I'm like, okay, like I'll get to it eventually. So we're scrolling through, and it's a number of different artists' pieces with different supplies. So some of them have 900, some of them have 1,000, some of them have multiple thousands, some have very small hundreds amounts. It's all over the place and depends. But as we're scrolling here, you might recognize some of these artists. You might not. But as I was scrolling through on this, I came across a ghost piece, which this was an artist or collection before during the time of the 10,000 generated pieces. There were some artists that came out that just kind of did their own style, and so Ghosts is one of them. I'll give you a little bit of a comparison to show kind of what these look like. And so that's an example of a different one. That's that. You can see kind of the loose, but like, I don't know, vibey, spiritual, whatever you want to explain for it, but it's a certain look, right? And so they've had where like this is Crypto Dick Butts for like a major NFT collection. They've gone and worked with the artist behind that to create these different collections. And you can go down again like this huge list and you can keep going. And I'm trying to see if there's any ones that I would like recognize. I feel like I'm not very good with the artists that are out here. Oh, there's the Ghost one right there. But you keep going down the list and you see all of them. And so it's like, all right, I'm learning about something that I didn't think I would really kind of jump into. And then you see how everybody gets connected over something where that memes, anytime that a new part is dropped by them or you get to see a new artist, people are introduced to it. And ultimately, I'm feeling nostalgic, okay? Because I'm learning a whole bunch of stuff, and it takes me back to when I first got into the space and all these things. There was so much to learn, so much to consume. And I know that we do it every single day, but you're like, oh, like this space, like the hyperliquid stuff, all the stuff's going there. I don't know anything about it. These things, I've seen this, that, I've seen it on the timeline, but I haven't done the research. And it's like, it's so exciting. Yeah, Shizzy, what's going on? It really, really is. But now that's your update on The Memes by 6529. If you've not seen it before, now you have. And basically, it's just like an accessible way that people are able to get different artists that they otherwise wouldn't get. Coinbase's CEO, Brian Armstrong, what does he got to say?
You probably all know that we got the Genius Act already passed into law for stablecoins, which is great. The next step is we've got to get market structure passed. And I've actually never been more bullish on this getting through. We've already seen strong bipartisan support in the House. Now it's being deliberated in the Senate. This has not stopped the banks from coming in and trying to relitigate issues that were already settled in the Genius Act. In particular, they're trying to ban rewards on stablecoins, even though this is already settled into law. And we're making sure that the Senate knows that bailing out the big banks, which are having record profit margins at the expense of the American consumer, is not going to fly. That would be a foolish thing to do politically, because there's 50 million Americans like you who have now used crypto, and they want to make sure that they can actually earn more money with their money. Who'd have thought? So visit standwithcrypto.org if you want to help and support. We'd love your help in contacting senators and congresspeople to make sure we get market structure passed and preserve rewards on stablecoins.
We still kind of, Corvus, what's going on? How we doing? It does feel like we still have some of the groundwork to be done or put in place, which 2025 here, clearly there's a lot of like positive developments about things, but always seeing these headlines, you kind of remember, oh yeah, like there is a lot going on. So this one's very, very, very weird to me. So if you haven't heard, and like virtually nobody's commenting on this from news sources like at all, I'm very, very surprised. There was a major announcement from Futureverse, and it's not the greatest, but things are going to continue in a way, or at least so it seems. So let's read the announcement and react. Today, the Futureverse board made the difficult decision to begin a restructuring of the business. While we've made significant progress building world-leading AI models, developing more than 30 open source protocols, and partnering with some of the world's top brands, we recognize that adjustments are needed to ensure the long-term sustainability of our vision. This process will allow us to focus on strengthening the core foundation of the company and reshaping the structure so we can continue to support our core products and applications. Importantly, this restructuring only impacts Futureverse Corporation and does not directly affect subsidiaries. Futureverse has always been rooted in collaboration and innovation, and our aim remains to carry this work forward in a stronger, more sustainable form. So that sounds kind of good, but it's very hard to tell for like the root network itself. It's kind of now up to the builders to be able to do stuff, and we've seen a bunch of announcements coming out from people that have been building on root networks saying, hey, we're going to continue stuff. But I mean, for Futureverse itself, they just announced a FC Barcelona partnership. They announced that Shibuya City, they were going to launch this huge thing. They had the Readyverse platform that was coming up with the Ready Player One IP. They've been working directly with the movie producer and then the author from the books themselves. There's a whole lot of things. And so because of this, I've had like a change of tune of, all right, so of all of these companies that are trying to do tech, we've seen Look Labs go down, we've seen Pixel Vault go down with the 100 million raise, we've seen Futureverse go down where they've gotten like a $50 million plus raise, and all these things are just like failing upon failing. You still have a cluster of communities that are forming within the space, whether it be within Futureverse for Fluff World, whether it be over in the Doodle side. Doesn't really matter. Throw out your collection. But there's cultures around this stuff. And then it got to like a speculative form where it's like, all right, we're thinking these assets are going to have some sort of extra thing. And then once the human element's gone of, okay, well, the development on certain things aren't going to continue. Well, then it's really all about just culture that matters and has the value, because for tech in the AI age, what if you get outpaced by somebody else? What's the problems with that? And so I've had a huge kind of change of heart about a lot of different things reading this, and it's been very weird seeing the reactions. But at the same time, when we talk about the community and the happenings, if I told you that within like the Futureverse Discord, there's been 20 plus people in VC for several hours every single day. The chat has never been more active. There's a lot of people that are like absolutely crashing out over it. But the community itself has kind of come together a bit like, all right, well, we've been in this corporate thing. Let's do something. What can we do? And it's all about the people. It's all about the people. And that's all that have ever mattered. So on that same breath, the Founders DAO from Pixel Vault has officially been struck from the Cayman Islands Company Register and thereupon dissolved. Your DAO tokens are collectibles now. No extra utility. No nothing. So again, you either have culture around the non-utility things or you have nothing. And some have it, some don't. And that's how you create a Bitcoin maxi. Tether buys 8,800 Bitcoin worth $1 billion. 1 billion smackers. And it's the king, right? Like in yesterday's video when we talked about the crypto punks and how it's definitively like the top NFT within crypto, people use the term shitcoins a lot because it's like, all right, you never know what's going to happen on any of these other tokens, but Bitcoin has solidified itself as the king, the mechanic, all of it. Now I understand where the Bitcoin maximalists come from. Fascinating time, says the Bored Ape Yacht Club founder. Neon, the number 2 social app on the Apple App Store, pays users to record their phone calls and sells data to AI firms. One day later, viral call recording app Neon goes dark after exposing users' phone calls, call recordings, and transcripts. Delightful. Just like the NFT space. Listen, across the world, we're getting the most ridiculous headlines every single day. But that's it for this edition of XFeed. Corvus, Shizzy, thank you so much for coming on through live. If you guys are wanting some more content, we do the RWA SegMints Podcast. If you check the link down in the description below, if you're on YouTube or in my bio on X, talking with the brightest minds within the space. And it's kind of a fun, laid back, vibing as the shirt that we thought was looking like a normal shirt that ends up looking sort of like pajamas. And we're just doing story time. Anyway, have you guys a good Tuesday, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.